I think removing anything from anything dealing with history is always a dangerous thing. But when it comes to Blaxploitation, I think there's two things I tell people they need to consider. One is that what Blaxploitation did is it signaled a shift in the way Blackness was presented. It was a fairly significant shift in the way it was presented in popular culture. And that shift was reflective of power fantasies and desires and in a lot of ways the unfulfilled dreams of the 60s. If you look at those films and then you look at the decade that came before them, you can see that progression, right? You can look at a film like, Judas and the Black Messiah, Get Out, or Marvel's Black Panther movie. I'd argue that none of those films would exist today if it wasn't for Blaxploitation. Because if nothing else, what the Blaxploitation era and the movement itself did was it opened the door and created opportunities that door was they could never shut that door again. When you talk about William Crane, who directed Blackula, where would Ryan Coogler be if there hadn't been a William Crane or an Ivan Dixon or Gordon Parks Sr.? And I think that it's crucial to not lose sight of what those movies did, the role that they played. And I think more importantly, it's also crucial not to lose sight of that they made audiences feel good after a time when they, a decade of feeling really bad. Like how many leaders did they see killed? How many cities did they see burned? How many, times were they beat upside the head by the police? And then to suddenly have a movie like 3 the Hard Way, which is just plain comic book entertainment and gives a frustrated, tired audience an opportunity to just feel good for a few minutes. And if people don't get that, then they don't get film. And what film is all about. I would say that if everybody doesn't have at least 2 pairs of glasses through which they view everything, they should at least have a pair of bifocals with different lenses. You can look at everything through a contemporary lens, and that's fine, but you have to look through everything through a contextual lens of the time and the era in which it was made. Now, again, that doesn't excuse why some things are made, but you understand it. Now, were all those films good? Nope. But that's the case with every genre and every era. And there's also great stuff too, I think that in terms of Blaxploitation movies, and if we're talking about something that was directed by a Black director, I think one of the greatest movies of all time, I'm not talking Blaxploitation, I'm talking of all time, is Ivan Dixon's The Spook Who Sat by the Door, right? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I also know that movie never would have gotten made in any time other than the 70s. The 70s gave us that. I'm cool with all of it.